Hello students, today we are going to learn 1.5 his first flight lesson from your 10th standard English textbook. We are going to learn from this lesson when we do any task first time we feel afraid, but if we overcome that fear we can learn that task very easily. In this poem, we are going to understand the experience of one bird, and he was feeling very much fear to fly in his life first time, and how his family supported him. All these things that we are going to learn from this lesson. So please open your textbook, page number 31. Now please pay attention. The young seagull was alone on his ledge. Seagull म्हणजे समुद्र पक्षी, त्याचं नाव सीगल आहे. The young seagull was alone. He was alone. तो एकटा होता on his ledge. Ledge म्हणजे डोंगराच्या कपारीमध्ये, डोंगराच्या एक कपारीचे टोक, त्या ठिकाणी तो तिथे एकटा होता. Alone on his ledge. His two brothers and his sisters had already flown away the day before. The day before means yesterday. Yesterday, his brothers and sister were flown away. Means they already flown away. ते उडून गेलेले होते, ते बाहेर उडायला गेलेले होते, त्याचे brothers and sisters. Yesterday, he had been afraid to fly with them. And our seagull, our bird, he was feeling very much fear. तो अतिशय घाबरलेल्या अवस्थेमध्ये होता. He could not fly. तो उडू शकला नाही. Why? Because he had been afraid. तो घाबरत होता. He had been afraid to fly with them. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid. And when he was trying to fly, somehow when he had taken a little run, he was taking a little run forward to the brink, B-R-I-N-K. Brink means the edge of the steep place. त्याची जी कडा आहे डोंगराची, त्याचा काठ म्हणजे ब्रिंक, आणि त्या ब्रिंक वरून त्याला उडी मारायची होती हवेमध्ये उडण्यासाठी. So when he was running little forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to fly, and when he was trying to fly his wings, he became afraid. And at that time he became afraid. तो घाबरत होता, and he stopped there, and he was not flying. तो उडत नव्हता, because he didn't have any courage to fly. त्याला उडण्याचं धैर्य नव्हतं, धाडस नव्हतं, म्हणून तो उडू शकत नव्हता. But his brothers and sisters, they were flying very easily, but he could not. The great expanse of sea stretched down beneath, and it was such a long way down, miles down. And beneath that ledge, beneath that brink, there was a big sea. एक मोठा समुद्र होता. The expanse of the sea, expanse means here अथांग समुद्र, आणि खाली अथांग समुद्र होता, आणि यामुळे तो अतिशय घाबरत होता. खाली पाणी, आणि त्याला कसं उडावं हे कळत नव्हतं. He felt certain that his wings would never support him, so he bent his head and ran away back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. And he was very much certain, he was sure that, त्याला अशी खात्री झालेली होती, certain म्हणजे खात्री. He felt certain that his wings would never support him. त्याला असं वाटत होतं की त्याची जी विंग्ज आहेत वुड नेवर सपोर्ट हिम, त्याला साथ देणार नाही. जर त्याने उडी मारली तर त्याला साथ देणार नाही, असं त्याला नेहमी वाटायचं. सो ही वॉज व्हेरी मच सर्टन दॅट हिज विंग्ज वुड नेवर सपोर्ट हिम, अँड सो दॅट ही कुड नॉट फ्लाय. सो ही बेंट हिज हेड, त्यांनी त्याचं डोकं खाली वाकवलं, अँड बेंट हिज हेड अँड रॅन अवे बॅक टू द लिटल होल. आणि तो त्याच्या रॅन अवे बॅक टू द लिटल होल म्हणजे छिद्र, त्या डोंगराच्या कपारीमध्ये असलेलं त्याचं जे छोटंसं घर आहे, त्याचं जे छिद्र आहे, ही रॅन अवे बॅक, तो आतमध्ये पळून गेलेला आहे. ran away to little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. आणि तो into that hole he slept that night. Means at that time also he could not fly. Even when each of his brothers and his little sister, whose wings were far shorter than his own, ran to the brink, flapped their wings, and flew away, he failed to muster up courage to take that plunge which appeared to him so desperate. Here, the writer is saying that even when each of his brothers and his little sister, whose wings were far shorter than his own, his brothers and his little sister's wings were far shorter than him, त्याच्यापेक्षाही खूप लहान पंख होते त्याच्या भावाचे आणि लहान बहिणीचे, but still they can fly, ते उडू शकत होते. But here our seagull, he could not fly. Why? Because he did not have to muster the courage. He did not have to muster up the courage. त्याला ते करेज, जे धाडस जे आहे ते गोळा करण्याचं धैर्य त्याच्यामध्ये, धाडस हे त्याच्यामध्ये नव्हतं. टू मस्टर अप म्हणजे गोळा करणे, एकत्र करणे. सो ही फेल्ड टू मस्टर अप करेज टू टेक दॅट प्लंज. प्लंज, PLUNGE, प्लंज म्हणजे उडान. So he could not take that plunge which appeared to him so desperate. He was so desperate. He was thinking that he should have to fly. त्याची अतिशय चांगली इच्छा होती उडायची. He was very desperate to fly. त्याची इच्छा होती उडायची, but he could not fly. Why? Because he failed to muster up the courage. He failed to gather the courage. So muster up means to gather. Gather म्हणजे एकत्र करणे. तो त्याचं धाडस एकत्र करू शकत नव्हता. So that he could not fly. His father and mother had come around calling to him shrilly, upbraiding him, threatening to let him starve on his ledge unless he flew away. But for the life of him, he could not move. His father and mother, they were also trying to just support him, and they also want that this seagull should have to fly. ते आपल्या या सीगलनी उडावं असं त्याच्या फादर आणि मदरला वाटायचं. हिज फादर अँड मदर हॅड कम अराउंड कॉलिंग टू हिम. दे हॅड ऑल्सो कम, ते सुद्धा आलेले होते टू सपोर्ट हिम. to him shrilly. Shrilly means SHRILLY, means in a loud harsh voice. ते अतिशय जोर जोरात ओरडत होते. ते जे पक्षी आहेत, त्याचे फादर मदर आहेत, they were calling him shrilly and upbraiding him. Upbraiding means scolding. Scolding म्हणजे they were getting angry on him. त्याच्यावरती रागवत होते, त्याची खरडपट्टी काढत होते, त्याला रागवत होते. दॅट इज कॉल्ड अपब्रेडिंग. अपब्रेडिंग मीन्स रागवणे किंवा खरडपट्टी काढणे. स्कोल्डिंग त्याला इंग्रजीमध्ये आपण म्हणूया. श्रीली अपब्रेडिंग हिम, थ्रेटनिंग टू लेट हिम स्टार्व. स्टार्व म्हणजे उपाशी ठेवणे. अँड थ्रेटनिंग हिम ऑल्सो दॅट इफ यू नॉट able to fly, then we will starve you. We will not give you food. आम्ही तुला अन्न देणार नाही असं त्याला भीती घालत होते. उपाशी ठेवू तुला on his ledge unless he flew away. But for the life of him he could not move. पण एवढं घाबरून सुद्धा only because of our seagull, he was thinking about his own life, so that he did not move. तो काही तिथून हल्ला नाही. and he did not try to fly. त्याने उडण्याचा प्रयत्नही केला नाही. why? because he was afraid of how to fly. कसं उडायचं याबद्दल त्याच्या मनामध्ये भीती होती. and he want to save his life. त्याला त्याचं जीवन वाचवायचं होतं, म्हणून तो उडू शकत नव्हता. एवढ्या सर्वांचे प्रयत्न करूनही तो या सर्व गोष्टी करू शकत नव्हता. That was 24 hours ago. आता 24 तास झालेले त्या गोष्टीला. Since then, nobody had come near him. From the 24 hours, nobody had come to near him. त्याच्याजवळ कोणीही आलेलं नाहीये. त्याचे brothers, sisters, father, mother, nobody had come to near him. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents flying about with his brothers and sisters. And he was he was watching from the ledge that his brothers and sisters and father and mother, they were flying very easily, and he was observing, he was watching, uh, perfecting them in the art of flight, teaching them how to skim the waves and how to dive for fish. And his father and mother, they were teaching to his brothers and sisters how to fly in the air, and at the same time perfecting them in the art of flight and teaching them how to skim the waves. Skim means touch the wave, म्हणजे लाटांना स्पर्श करणे. That is called skim the wave. Skim here, move lightly just above a surface, म्हणजे लाटांच्या वर टच करणे. That is called skimming. And here the father and mother, they were teaching to the brothers and sisters of the seagull how to skim the waves and how to dive for fish. आणि मासा कसा पकडायचा समुद्रामधून ते फादर आणि मदर हे त्याच्या ब्रदर्सला आणि सिस्टर्सला शिकवत होते. ही हॅड इन फॅक्ट सीन हिज ओल्डर ब्रदर कॅच हिज फर्स्ट हेरिंग अँड डिव्होर इट. HERRING. हेरिंग इथं अर्थ आहे, हेरिंग मीन्स हेरिंग नावाचा मासा. आणि डिव्होर, DEVOUR, डिव्होर मीन्स इट अप हंग्रीली, अतिशय घाईघाईने खाणे. So he had in fact seen his older brother caught his first fish, and the name of that fish was herring, and he ate that fish very hungrily or very fastly. So that action is called devouring. Devour. Okay. So he ate older brother ate that fish very hungrily, and standing on a rock while his parents circled around raising a proud cackle. CACKLE. Cackle means shrill cry, म्हणजे मोठ्याने कलकल असा आवाज. And when father and mother saw that his older bird caught his first fish, they became happy and they started cackling. They started making loud noise, and they became very much happy. And all the morning the whole family had walked about on a big plateau midway down the opposite cliff, taunting him for his cowardice. And in the next morning, all the family, instead of our seagull, they moved in front of exact the opposite side of this ledge. तर याचं जे आपला जो सीगल आहे तो ज्या डोंगर कपारीमध्ये राहत होता त्याच्या एक्झॅक्ट समोर एक प्लॅट्यू होतं. प्लॅट्यू म्हणजे एक पठार होतं, समोर एक डोंगरकडा होता, त्याच्या पठारीवर ही पूर्ण फॅमिली दे मूव्ड टू दॅट प्लॅट्यू मिडवे डाऊन द अपोजिट ऑफ क्लिफ. CLIFF. क्लिफ मीन्स अ हाय स्टीप फेस ऑफ रॉक, म्हणजे समोरच एक खडक होता मोठा डोंगराचा, आणि त्या ठिकाणी त्या प्लॅट्यूवर, त्या पठारावर ही सगळी फॅमिली तिथं थांबली होती. अँड फ्रॉम दॅट प्लेस मीन्स दे वे टॉन्टिंग, ते टॉन्टिंग करत होते, म्हणजे एक प्रकारे आपल्या सीगलला ते चिडवत होते की जस्ट यू हॅव टू स्टार्ट युअर फ्लाइंग, यू जस्ट ट्राय, व्हाय यू आर नॉट ट्राइंग. इन दिस वे दे वे टॉन्टिंग to our seagull from that cliff, and they were saying that you are a cowardice. COWARDICE. cowardice म्हणजे भित्रा. त्याला ते चिडवत होते की तू भित्रा आहेस, यू आर cowardice, you are very much fearful bird. अशा पद्धतीने ते त्याला चिडवत होते. and they were trying to support him to start the flying, but still our seagull could not muster up the courage. The sun was now ascending the sky, blazing on his ledge that faced the south. Now the sun was ascending म्हणजे आता सूर्य वर येत होता, and blazing on his ledge. blazing म्हणजे पूर्णपणे उजळून जाणे. in the light of that sun, everywhere we can see very much clearly. सगळीकडे स्पष्ट असं दिसत होतं. He felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. आणि त्याला आता हीट, सूर्याच्या उष्णतेची जाणवत होती. व्हाय? बिकॉज फ्रॉम द लास्ट नाईट ही did not eat any food. so that he was feeling somehow heat of the sun. तो त्या सूर्याची उष्णता त्याला जाणवत होती because he was feeling very weak. He stepped slowly out to the brink of the ledge, and standing on one leg with the other leg hidden under his wing, he closed one eye, then the other, and pretended to be falling asleep. So in the morning, he moved forward, came to the ledge, brink of the ledge. तो त्याच्या काठावर आला, त्याच्या कड्याच्या काठावर आला, and standing on one leg with the other leg hidden under the wing, त्यांनी एका पायावर तो उभा राहिला आणि दुसरा पाय त्याच्या पंखांच्या मध्ये त्यांनी लपवला. and he closed one eye, त्यांनी त्याचा एक डोळा बंद केला, and the other he pretended to be falling asleep because his family were in front of him on the plateau. त्याची फॅमिली ही समोर होती, त्याच्या पठारावर, समोरच्या डोंगराच्या पठारावर. अँड सो दॅट ही वॉज प्रिटेंडिंग दॅट ही वॉज अस्लीप, तो झोपलेला आहे असं तो त्या फॅमिलीला दाखवत होता. स्टील दे टूक नो नोटीस ऑफ हिम, बट देअर फॅमिली वे आर नॉट टेकिंग नोटीस ऑफ हिम. He saw his two brothers and his sisters lying on the plateau, dozing with their heads sunk into their necks. And he saw that his brothers and sister, they were dozing, DOZING, dozing म्हणजे डुलक्या घेणे. ते डुलक्या घेत होते, and they sunk their heads into their necks. त्यांनी त्यांचे डोके त्यांच्या मानेमध्ये खुपसून ते डुलक्या घेत होते, झोपलेले होते. His father was preening the feathers on his white back, and his father was trying to clean his feathers with feathers on his white back. So preening means here to clean, म्हणजे स्वच्छ करणे. and his father was trying to clean his feather. Only his mother was looking at him. Only his mother, फक्त त्याची आई मात्र त्याच्याकडे बघत होती, बाकी कोणी बघत नव्हतं. She was standing on a little high hump on the plateau, her white breast thrust forward, and his mother was standing on a little high hump, HUMP. hump म्हणजे a round raised mass on land, म्हणजे एखाद्या डोंगरावरचा उंचवटा, त्याला म्हणायचं हंप. तो ती त्या हंपवर उभी होती, उंचवट्यावर उभी होती. अँड फ्रॉम दॅट प्लेस शी वॉज वॉचिंग आवर सीगल, अँड हर व्हाईट ब्रेस्ट थ्रस्ट फॉरवर्ड. तिनं तिची जी चेस्ट होती, ब्रेस्ट जी होती, छाती होती, पुढे पांढरी छाती ही पुढे करून ती पाहत होती. नाऊ अँड अगेन शी टोर ॲट अ पीस ऑफ फिश दॅट ले ॲट हर फीट, and then scraped each side of her beak on the rock. At that time, she was tearing the piece which was lying at her feet. तिच्या पायाजवळ जो मासा पडलेला आहे, she was tearing that fish, and at the same time she scraped each side of her beak on the rock. तिनं तिची जी चोंच आहे ती स्क्रॅप्ट करत होती. स्क्रॅप्ट म्हणजे रब्ड म्हणजे घासणे. ती चोंच अशी घासत होती, धारधार अजून करत होती, त्याला अशी धार वाढवत होती. देन स्क्रॅप्ड ईच साइड ऑफ हर बीक ऑन द रॉक. द साइट ऑफ द फूड मॅडन्ड हिम, अँड आवर सीगल व्हेन ही सॉ द फिश इन द बीक ऑफ हर मदर, ही बिकेम मॅड. तो मॅड झाला, पागल झाला. व्हाय? बिकॉज ही वॉन्टेड दॅट फूड. त्याला त्या अन्नासाठी तो पागल झाला, तो त्या अन्नासाठी तो वेडा झाला, कारण की त्याला खूप भूक लागलेली होती. आणि जेव्हा खूप भूक लागलेल्या माणसाच्या समोर जर अन्न जर ठेवलं तर तो वेड्यासारखा वागू शकतो. सो द साईट ऑफ दॅट फूड मॅडर्न हिम, अँड हाऊ ही लव्ड टू टिअर फूड दॅट वे, स्क्रॅपिंग हिज बीक नाऊ अँड अगेन टू व्हेट इट. WHET, व्हेट मीन्स टोकदार करणे, शार्पन. So whet means sharpen, टोकदार करणे. And he also liked to sharpen his own beak also, and he also wanted to eat that fish like his mother was eating. So he started calling to his mother, ga ga ga. He cried begging her to bring him some food. He was begging means requesting. तो रिक्वेस्ट करतो आहे. Go, call, she screamed back derisively. Derisively याचा अर्थ होतो उपहासाने. in a manner showing someone that she or he is stupid. एक जसं काही एखादा मूर्ख पक्षी ओरडतो आहे अशा उपहासाने ती आई त्याच्याकडे पाहून ओरडत होती. सो डेरिसिव्हली मीन्स जस्ट लाईक अ स्टुपिड और उपहासाने. बट ही केप्ट कॉलिंग plaintively, and after a minute or so he uttered a joyful scream. मात्र तो आईकडे अजून विनंती वजा प्लेंटिव्हली म्हणजे अतिशय दुःखाने, म्हणजे एक्सप्रेसिंग सॉरो, दुःख व्यक्त करत होता की आय वॉन्ट फूड, प्लीज गिव्ह मी सम फूड, गिव्ह मी दॅट फिश दॅट यू आर इटिंग, अशा पद्धतीने तो कॉल करतोय. तितक्यात त्याला एक गोष्ट दिसली आणि तो ओरडला आनंदाने. काय दिसलं त्याला? His mother had picked up a piece of the fish and was flying across to him with it. And he saw that his mother started flying and his mother was coming to him. त्याची आई त्याच्याकडे येत होती, taking that fish in her beak. तिच्या चोचीमध्ये ते फिश घेऊन तिच्याकडे, and he became happy. He leaned out eagerly. His mother had picked up a piece of fish and was flying across to him with it. He leaned out eagerly, tapping the rock with his feet, trying to get nearer to her as she flew across. And his mother came near to him, and he also, our seagull also, went near to her mother on the edge of his ledge. त्याच्या काठावर तो गेला, अँड ही लीन्ड फॉरवर्ड, तर तो समोर वाकलेला आहे इगरली, बिकॉज ही वॉन्टेड टू टेक दॅट फिश फ्रॉम हिज मदर्स बीक. त्याला त्याच्या चोंचीमधून घ्यायचं होतं. सो ही लीन्ड फॉरवर्ड, टॅपिंग द रॉक विथ हिज फीट. तो खडकावर पाया दळत होता. ट्राईंग टू गेट नियरर टू हर as she flew across. When she was flying near to the ledge of our seagull, but she did not come inside the ledge. ती त्या लेजच्या मध्ये नाही आली, but she was flying still there. तो तिथंच उभी होती. And our seagull was very eager to eat that fish. So nearer to her as she flew across, but when she was just opposite to him, she halted, her wings motionless, the piece of fish in her beak almost within reach of his beak. He waited a moment in surprise, wondering why she did not come nearer, and then, maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. And our seagull was not understanding that why his mother is not coming into that ledge. ती त्या लेजमध्ये काय येत नाहीये हे त्याला समजत नव्हतं. अँड ॲट लास्ट, and when he saw that his mother was not coming inside the ledge, he became very mad to take that fish, and he at last dived into the air to catch that fish, because he wanted that fish very much strongly, because he was very much hungry from the last 24 hours. So he dived into the air, and then with a loud scream he fell outwards and downwards into space. आणि ज्या क्षणी त्याने उडी मारली, ही स्क्रीम्ड लाऊडली, खूप जोरात तो ओरडला, कारण की त्याने हवेमध्ये उडी मारलेली होती. अँड स्क्रीम्ड ही फेल आउटवर्ड्स अँड डाऊनवर्ड्स. त्यांनी बाहेर उडी मारलेली, ही फेल आउटवर्ड अँड ही स्टार्टेड गोईंग डाऊनवर्ड्स. तो खाली जात होता इन द स्पेस. Then a monstrous terror seized him and his heart stood still. अतिशय भयंकर भीती त्याच्या हृदयामध्ये त्याला वाटली. Then a monstrous terror, monstrous म्हणजे अतिशय भयंकर, टेरर म्हणजे भीती त्याच्या मनामध्ये वाटली. And his heart stood still. त्याचं हृदय थांबतं की काय असं त्याला वाटलं. He could hear nothing. त्याला काहीच ऐकू येत नव्हतं. He was going down, but it only lasted a minute. पण हे सगळं काही क्षणच घडलं. The next moment he felt his wings spread outwards, and in the next moment he felt that his wings spread. Moment he felt his wings spread outwards, त्याचे पंख पसरलेले होते, आणि the wind rushed against his breast feathers, then under his stomach and against his wings. आणि त्यांनी पाहिलं की हवा ही त्याच्या पोटाच्या खालून वाहते आहे, अँड अगेन्स्ट हिज विंग्स, त्याच्या पंखांच्या विरुद्ध दिशेने हवा वाहते आहे, अगेन्स्ट. अँड ही कुड फील द टिप्स ऑफ द विंग्स कटिंग थ्रू द एअर. आणि ती हवा त्याच्या पंखांच्या टोकांना छेदून जाते आहे हे त्याच्या लक्षात आलं. ही वॉज नॉट फॉलिंग हेडलॉंग नाव. त्याच्या लक्षात आलं की ही वॉज नॉट फॉलिंग हेडलॉंग, तो डोक्यावर पडत नाहीये, बिकॉज हिज विंग्स were already spread there and the air supported the wings of our seagull. Then he was soaring gradually downwards and outwards. त्यांनी पाहिलं की he was soaring, तो सोअरिंग करतो आहे, तो उडतो आहे, तो उडू शकतो आहे, तो तरंगू शकतो आहे याची जाणीव. तरंगणे, सोअरिंग म्हणजे काय करणे, तरंगणे, आणि तो तरंगू लागलेला आहे, तो डोक्यावर पडत नाही. ग्रॅज्युअली डाऊनवर्ड्स अँड आउटवर्ड्स ही वॉज नो लॉंगर अफ्रेड. आता त्याची भीतीही कमी झालेली आहे, कारण की तो हवेमध्ये तरंगतोय आणि त्याची भीती कमी झाली. ही जस्ट फेल्ट अ बिट डिझी, DIZZY. डिझी मीन्स त्याला थोडंसं हॅव्हिंग अन अनकम्फर्टेबल फिलिंग, थोडं त्याला अनकम्फर्टेबल वाटत होतं. स्पिनिंग अराउंड, जसं आपल्याला चक्कर येते की नाही थोडीशी, तसं त्याला थोडं वाटत होतं. बाकी त्याला काहीही दुसरं काही त्रास नव्हता. देन ही फ्लॅप्ड हिज विंग वन्स अँड ही सोर्ड अपवर्ड. अँड देन ही फ्लॅप्ड हिज विंग्स अँड स्टार्टेड सोअरिंग अपवर्ड. तो अजून उंच उंच उडायला लागला. तो ही बिकेम व्हेरी मच हॅपी. गा 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 कॉल हिज मदर swooped past him, and his mother also became very much happy, and he came near to him, swooped past him. swooped past him म्हणजे swoop म्हणजे झेपावणे. ती त्याची आई त्याच्याकडे झेपावून आली. her wings making a loud noise, he answered her with another scream. Our seagull also started calling his mother in a very much happy sound. Then his father flew over him screaming. His father also became happy. His father also started screaming, ओरडायला लागले. He saw his two brothers and his sisters flying around him, curveting and banking and soaring and diving. And he also saw that his brothers and sisters also came near to him, and they were started flying around him, curveting म्हणजे ते डौलदारपणे उडत होते, जस्ट लाईक हॉर्स. कर्वेटिंग मीन्स लिपिंग लाईक अ हॉर्स. ते मस्त डौलदारपणे, जस्ट लाईक हॉर्स सारखं, जसं एखादा घोडा कसा डौलदारपणे चालतो. सो दे वेर कर्वेटिंग व्हाईल फ्लाईंग. अँड बँकिंग मीन्स उंच उडणे. अँड सोअरिंग अँड डायव्हिंग, उंच तरंगत होते, झेपावत होते. अँड दे वेर एन्जॉईंग विथ अवर सीगल. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly. And when he was started flying first time, he forgot that he had been afraid to fly. म्हणजे ते उडण्यासाठी तो घाबरत होता हे तो विसरला होता. Because he was enjoying his flying and commanded himself to dive and soar and curve and shrieking shrilly. आणि तो छानपैकी डाईव्ह करत होता, सूर मारत होता, सोर भरारी करत होता, कर्व वळणं घेत होता. अँड श्रीकिंग श्रीली, तो जोरजोऱ्यामध्ये आरोळ्या कर्कशपणे ओरडत होता. आणि श्रीकिंग SHRIEKING, श्रीकिंग मीन्स मेकिंग अ लाऊड क्राय. सो ही वॉज श्रीकिंग अँड श्रीली, जोरजोरात ओरडत होता. ही बिकेम व्हेरी मच हॅपी. He was near the sea now. आता he went to near the sea, flying straight over it, facing straight out over the ocean. He saw a vast green sea beneath him, with little ridges moving over it, and he turned his beak sideways and cawed amusedly. And he went near to the sea, and he started flying on the sea, facing straight out over the sea. He saw a vast green sea beneath him. त्यांनी पाहिलं किती मोठा हिरव्या रंगाचा समुद्र खाली पसरलेला आहे. विथ लिटल रिजेस, RIDGES. रिजेस याचा अर्थ होतो की डोंगर, समुद्राच्या बाहेर आलेले छोटे छोटे डोंगराचे सुळके, त्याला म्हणतात रिजेस. मुव्हिंग ओव्हर इट अँड ही टर्न हिज बीक साईडवेज अँड कॉड अम्युजली. अँड अम्युजली म्हणजे अतिशय मजेने. ही वॉज एन्जॉईंग हिज फ्लाईंग ऑन द सी ऑल्सो. His parents and his brothers and sisters had landed on his green flooring ahead of him. मग त्याचे ब्रदर्स अँड सिस्टर्स, फादर, त्यांनी एका छान हिरवळीवरती बसले. दे वेर बेकनिंग टू हिम, कॉलिंग श्रीली. बेकनिंग म्हणजे खुणावणे. दे जस्ट बेकनिंग टू हिम, दे वेर कॉलिंग हिम. ते जवळ येण्यासाठी त्याला बोलवत होते. ही ड्रॉप्ड हिज लेग्स टू स्टँड ऑन अ ग्रीन सी. our seagull dropped his legs to stand on a green sea. त्याला असं वाटलं की समुद्रामध्ये आपण उभं राहू, म्हणून त्यांनी पाण्यामध्ये पाय सोडले. हिज लेग्स सँक इन टू इट, परंतु त्याचे पाय त्या पाण्यामध्ये, समुद्राच्या पाण्यामध्ये बुडायला लागले. सँक म्हणजे बुडणे. इट इज द पास्ट टेन्स ऑफ सिंक. He screamed with fright and attempted to rise again, flapping his wings. Again he felt very much fear. त्याला तो अतिशय घाबरला, because he started thinking, त्याचं तो बुडतोय काय असं त्याला वाटलं. So he screamed with fright, अतिशय जोरात तो घाबरून ओरडला, and attempted to rise again, flapping his wings, and he wanted to fly upward. तो स्वतःला वाचवण्यासाठी उंच उडण्याचा त्यांनी प्रयत्न केला. But he was tired and weak with hunger and could not rise. But he could not fly upward because he became very much weak and he was feeling very hunger. तो अतिशय भुकेला झालेला होता, and weak and with hunger, and he could not rise. Exhausted by the strange exercise and this flying, he was doing this flying first time. It is a one kind of exercise, so that he became very much weak and exhausted म्हणजे तो अतिशय थकलेला होता. त्याला आपण wear out आपण असं म्हणतो. His feet sank into the green sea, and then his belly touched it, and he sank no further. And again he sank his feet into the water of the sea. त्याचे पाय परत बुडाले त्या पाण्यामध्ये. Again now his stomach or his belly, त्याचं जे पोट आहे, touched the water, but now he sank no further. पण त्याच्या पोटाच्या पलीकडे तो त्या पाण्यामध्ये बुडाला नाही. He started floating. तो त्या पाण्यावर, समुद्राच्या पाण्यावर तरंगायला लागला. He was floating on it, and around him his family was screaming, praising him, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish. And his family also came there, and they were screaming, enjoying, praising him, and also offering him dogfish, scraps of dogfish म्हणजे त्या डॉगफिशचे, समुद्रातला एक प्रकारचा तो मासा आहे, त्याचे तुकडे they were offering to our seagull, and he had made his first flights. In this way our seagull made his first flight successfully, and he started enjoying his life. तर अशा पद्धतीने विद्यार्थी मित्रांनो, या छानशा गोष्टीमध्ये आपण आपल्या आयुष्यामध्ये कोणताही अनुभव जेव्हा पहिल्यांदा घेतो तेव्हा आपल्याला खूप अवघड वाटतं. बट वेन वी स्टार्ट डुईंग दॅट थिंग्स, देन वी फील ओके दॅट टास्क इज व्हेरी मच इझी. की ते काम खूपच सोपं आहे असं आपल्याला नंतर वाटायला लागतं. सो लेट्स स्टार्ट डुईंग एनी न्यू थिंग without fear. So this is the lesson. This is a one kind of a moral thing that we are going to learn from this lesson. So thank you very much. Thank you.